Welcome, everybody, to the annual meeting for 2020 for the Milwaukee County Historical Society. My name is John Harry. I'm the Programs and Marketing Fellow for the Society, but going to turn this thing over first to our Executive Director, Mccully.
Good evening, and thank you. I feel like I'm on the yellow planet, so I apologize for my yellowness. But welcome to the 2020 annual meeting. I'm thrilled that we can still have this meeting in some way, shape, or form this evening. And I'd like to thank John Harry for moderating it for us this evening, and Diane Buck from Landmarks Committee, and Nate Infeld, the head of governance and our vice chair, for being with me this evening to discuss the Historical Society and the Landmarks presentation for you, or with you. So the Society has obviously had a very interesting year, like I think everyone. And we started out the year with a wonderful exhibit that was the Unseen Treasures of Milwaukee. It was really neat. And of course, the highlight and feature was the Goldman's counter. Everyone seemed to rave about it and come and love sitting at that counter, but there's many other highlights to the exhibit as well. And so that was only up for a few short weeks before this happened, but we were thrilled to be able to have a lot of people enjoying it up until that point. And then when we reopened the Society on June 29th, the next exhibit we put up was Better, Bigger, Brighter, 150 Years of Milwaukee Politics. And it was no better year to have this exhibit with the national election going on, but of course the DNC was coming to Milwaukee. Of course, that didn't work out so well, but we had a wonderful exhibit, and it will be available for traveling as well, and did make it over to one of the hotels. So that was a nice thing to have. It's still up right now, so I urge you to come and see it if you can. It'll be up through the end of the year ahead of our next exhibit. So come down to the Society, masks required, but otherwise plenty of space to space out and enjoy this exhibit. The next thing that we were so excited to unveil this year was Viewwalkie. And Viewwalkie is a new addition. Next slide, John, sorry. A new addition to Milwaukee's landscape. And here you see a street side viewer. And these viewers, instead of seeing what you'd see right there, the Calatrava addition to the Art Museum, up closer, you actually see a historic view of what was there before we had the Art Museum. So it's a neat way to experience the past while in the present. And these unveiled 10 of them so far. 8 are installed. 2 will be, the remaining 2 next week. And all 10 are there free around the city for you to enjoy. And they tell different types of history, different eras. It's really a neat thing to experience. You can walk between them or otherwise drive, depending, which ones you want to see. And this was made possible by supporters and donors, but most importantly, our presenting sponsor, C.G. Schmidt, who did this as their 100th anniversary present to the people of Milwaukee. So get out there. It's up year round and very safe to do it. It's outside. So thank you to them for this wonderful gift. And next slide, you'll see they're all around. So as far west as Miller Brewing Company, the most northern is up there at the water tower. And on the south side, it's over at the 16th Street Bridge or the Calatrava down in front of Summerfest. So we were thrilled to have this. This was part of our goal of being where the people are. So rather than expecting everyone to come to the Society or historic sites, we also want to be out in the community in different ways. And this is one of the ways we do that. Next slide. To also adapt to the coronavirus limitations, we have here both the kayak and the bike tours. The kayak tours have been with Milwaukee Kayak Company, Beth Handel, and our archivist, Steve Schaffer, for a few years now and are a hit. And we're thrilled to be able to continue to do those. But then you also see on the right there, Dana Hansen, former manager of our beer museum, came back to run our bike tours, and they were a great hit, sold out, I think almost every time. And we'll plan to do more of those next summer. But it was a nice way to social distance, get out and see the city, but also learn about its history. And so look for those. Coming up, next slide. At the end of this year, I said, Bigger, Better, Brighter will head on out, and we will be making way for Milwaukee's water history exhibit. So we're excited to share the history of our waterways, not only the importance of them to people in general and our enjoyment, but also to industry and the many different stories you can tell with water. So that will open in mid-January, and we'll have a ton of programming to go along with that. And just a note on that, we've started our education programs back this fall. And instead of being in the classroom with children or inviting them to field trips, Mary Jo Knapp, our educator, is joining them virtually through Zoom to still continue to share Milwaukee's history with classrooms from throughout the area. And we're thrilled to be able to do that. She's done a wonderful job adapting in this sense. We'll also continue our presentations like this one on Thursday night, although not an annual meeting, of course, but every Thursday night at 7:30, John Harry puts together a program for us. Next weekend, or next Thursday, will be the story of traditional Thanksgiving in Milwaukee. So let's talk about food. And then we'll have a bunch of holiday ones in December, and a special one from John Gerda, John Gerda's favorite things. So look forward to that. So the presentations are a way to still enjoy history from home. And of course, our museum is open with parameters in place, and we hope you join us. I want to thank everyone who is with us tonight on this call for your support this year, for helping us get through a really interesting and crazy time. And I think it's been so nice, the emails and letters we've received thanking us for what we are able to do. We know it's different, and we know it's not what we've always been used to, but I think we're still accomplishing our mission of sharing history with the people of Milwaukee. And actually, kind of further, we've seen a much bigger participation in our social channels, in our Thursday night presentations. Our annual dinner had a ton of people. I guess that was our annual event this year. So thank you to each of you for your support and for helping us to carry out our mission. So John will share with you at the end how to continue with our programs and what's ahead for that. But if you want to reach me, feel free to email or call me. I'm back in the office. And of course, you can always email info@milwaukeehistory.net, and we'll make sure your email gets to the right person. So thank you for your support. And I'm going to introduce you to Nathan Infield, who is our governance chair and also our vice chair of the board.
The introduction. Great historic structures that we'll hear about Landmarks Designation just after I'm done, because that's where you put boring lawyer stuff. You sandwich it between two exciting things. So I'm here to talk about what would normally be the formal business that we attend to at our annual meeting. Unfortunately, both due to the limitations that our electronic platform has put on us, as well as the limitations in our bylaws, I'm not going to be able to ask all of you as members to vote on anything. So in that sense, this is slightly different than our ordinary annual meeting would be. Instead, what I'm going to do is give you a brief update on our board of directors and what we're planning to do as a board to deal with the situation that COVID has presented to us in terms of leadership transition and the re-election of the directors who are currently serving. So John, next slide, please. As many of you probably know, this is the current board of directors for the Society. Barbara Meyer as chair, myself as vice chair, Lindsay Draper serving as secretary, Mark Zalewski as treasurer. Those are your four officers. And then you see there the rest of the board who are currently serving. The issue that we have been confronted with in this sort of I hate to use the phrase unprecedented times. It seems overused at this point, but in these difficult times, is ordinarily we would be looking at transitioning some of those leadership roles to new board members, and we'd be looking to bring new board members onto the board to fill in gaps. And that process has been greatly limited by our inability to meet in person with anyone, and our inability to meet in person as a board. And as a result, if we just go to the next slide, John, what we're asking or what we're proposing to the membership that we do is to simply freeze our existing leadership in place. So despite the fact that we've got some people who are up against their ordinary term limits, and despite the fact that we would usually, just as a matter of good board governance, be looking to refresh leadership, we aren't in a position to do that. And so we're intending to do just as you see there under proposal, is to simply freeze the existing leadership and existing board membership in place, and we'll obviously we'll be coming back to the membership next year with all of the sort of ordinary proposals we might have for reelecting directors and making sure that we've done what we need to do from a governance perspective. And just so that everyone in the membership is aware, in an effort to be as transparent as we can be about what's going on here, I'll just have John slip to the next slide and show you who is going to continue to serve on the board, who would ordinarily be up for election during the course of an annual meeting if we were having one in person. So you can see there Judge Joe Donald, Lindsay Draper, Barbara Meyer, Ruth Mccully, and Stacey Terrace are all of the directors whose terms would ordinarily be coming up for re-election at our annual meeting. But under the circumstances, we're going to press gang them into staying on the board for at least the next year until we're able to kind of get things back in order, hopefully, and fingers crossed, have an ordinary annual meeting next year. Obviously, that's a little bit unusual, and if anyone has any questions about any of that, I'm happy to talk. I'm available at your convenience to kind of discuss how we got to this. But we're asking the membership to trust that the existing board of directors is able to continue to serve and do what we need to do to help MAME and the rest of the staff execute on the society's mission in these sort of unusual circumstances. So like I said, I'm happy to field any questions that anyone has about how this all came about. But otherwise, I think we can move on to Diane Buck's presentation, which is going to be significantly more interesting than mine.
I'm not too sure about that, but thank you and good evening to everyone. I'd like to introduce who my committee members are. The committee consists of Randy Bryant, Mary Reed, John Piney, Mark Knapp, Kevin Abing, Lindsay Draper, and myself. The original Landmarks Committee was established in Milwaukee County in 1974. If you are unfamiliar with the landmarks selected in the county, please visit the Milwaukee County Historical Society website, because there you will find over 100 past landmarks, and they are described, and there are a lot of photographs there that are very interesting. A landmark for this usage is defined as any building or structure of particular historic, architectural, or cultural significance in the county of Milwaukee. Landmark status does not limit the owner if he or she wishes to sell or alter the property. I encourage any of you to investigate and to put forward a site that you might think is worthy of landmark status. For several decades, the committee concentrated on landmarks outside the city of Milwaukee. For the past few years, we have begun to investigate possible landmarks in the city. This year, our committee individually investigated the proposed landmarks, because we did this individually because of the pandemic. Then in August, via Zoom, we held a public hearing and forwarded the 3 selected landmarks to the full board for their approval. Tonight, we present the 3 approved landmarks to the membership. A special thanks to the research work of Mary Reed on these 3 sites. Here they are. Slide, please, John. This site you will immediately recognize. The Lion House at 1241 North Franklin Place. The Historic American Building Survey considers this house, the Lion House, to be the finest surviving pre-Civil War home in Milwaukee. The local prominent architectural firm of that time, Mygat and Schmidner, designed the classically inspired home. Sometimes this home is described as French Renaissance, Greek Revival, or even Roman Temple style. The house was designed for Edward Dietrichs. It was built between 1852 and 1855. The lions outside were drawn by Henry, I think his pronunciation is Kopp, who carved by the ornamental wood carver Richard H. White. Kopp went on to become one of Milwaukee's foremost architects, designing such landmarks as City Hall, the Pfister Hotel, and Calvary Church. The home has changed hands several times and undergone numerous interior and exterior renovations. A second floor, which you can see here, was added in 1895, and the ornamental lions were removed in 1944, and they weren't restored and returned until 1966. The house always retained its architectural integrity, as it does today. It's a beautiful example. Next slide. The next 2 are the Bloodgood House at 1139 East Knapp and the Howley House at 1249 North Franklin Place. Attorney Francis Bloodgood and Mary B. Hawley, the aunt of Bloodgood's wife, purchased the corner lot at the intersection of Knapp and Franklin in 1896. They chose Howland D. Russell, one of Milwaukee's first formally educated architects, to design both of their new homes. Bloodgood chose his on the right there in a popular French chateau style. It is one of the few remaining examples of this style in Milwaukee. If you look at this home at the right, you can see that it has many details that are worth examining closely. And the interior incorporates elements drawn from the 16th century, which was a transitional period from French Gothic and the Renaissance. It is a beautiful piece of property and has really been carefully restored lately. And now if you turn your attention to the smaller house on the left. Due to extensive traveling, Mary Howley, the builder or owner, occupied her home for less than 5 years, perhaps explaining its less ornate design. However, the house includes a very distinctive half-octagon oriel window on the second floor. That's above the entrance, and I think you can see that in this beautiful photograph. This oriel window was removed in 1960, but eventually replicated and installed as part of a large-scale renovation to restore the home and its original splendor. In the back of both of these houses, there is what they call a party design, where it connects both of these houses. So these are the three landmarks for this year, and the plaques for these three properties will be given to the current owners. And later I will be glad to answer any questions about these two houses, if I can. I'd like the next slide. That's it. Take a look carefully at this slide. This is a slide that it has been shown before because in 2018, the Landmarks Committee decided to place a significant marker at the site of the lynching of George Marshall Clark in 1861. This happened near the northwest corner of Buffalo and Water Street. Mark Knapp has worked with Kevin Abing to research and design the marker that you see on the screen here. Executive Director Mccully has worked with the city, and Randy Bryant has met with building owners in that area and with the Third Ward Bid District on the placement of this historic marker. The necessary approvals have been secured. We are now only waiting for the certificate of approval to place the historic marker. The marker will be manufactured and placed at the terminus of Buffalo Street, near the Milwaukee River and the Mary Miss observation platform. Thank you to the committee for all their work on this project, especially Randy Bryant. I now give you John Harry.
All right, thank you, Diane, and thank you everybody for tuning in tonight and every Thursday night, hopefully, for our Thursday night digital discussions. Just wanted to let you know of some of the notable programming we have coming up. We're still getting some things on the schedule and the word out for the rest of the year, but two of the things that we know we have coming up a week from today. Can you believe it's almost Thanksgiving? Holy cow. But I'm really looking forward to this presentation. Are you going to eat that? The story behind the traditional Milwaukee Thanksgiving. So that is going to be with author Christina Ward. She's done a bunch of different books on food from different angles as far as preservation goes and different ingredients and things like that. And she's a Milwaukee native who now lives in Cudahy. So we're really fortunate to have that level of author joining us next week. So I hope you can tune in for that next week at 7:30. That is a free presentation. If you're watching this one tonight, then you already know how to watch that one next week. The other one that we're really looking forward to, of course, we look forward to all of our presentations. If I can get the slide to change, there we go. John Gerda is doing a very unique and one of a kind presentation for us at the Milwaukee County Historical Society. It's John Gerda's Favorite Things, coming up on December 10th at 7:30. We're still working out the ticket details on that one, but as of next week, we should have more info on that. So make sure that you are part of our mailing list, which you can sign up for at MilwaukeeHistory.net, or just stay tuned on our social channels like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and we'll get the word out about that. But this is going to be all about John Gerda's, well, literally his favorite things. So the things that strikes him as fun and unique, or that gets him going as far as Milwaukee history goes. So we hope you can join us for that very unique talk that's coming up. And with that, I'll turn it over one more time to Mame.
Thank you, John and Nate and Diane. And a final thank you to the staff. You heard a lot about what's going on at the Society and what we're doing, these presentations coming up, a new exhibit, and there are 10 people that deserve thanks for that. And that is Kevin Abing and Steve Schaffer, the archivist, Ben Barbera, our curator, Renee Bartelt, our controller, who joined us just a few weeks before this all happened, but has just been a wonderful addition. Thank you. Kathy Dolan, who has her hands in so many other projects, and we appreciate that. And she is the visitor services head that you usually meet when you come into the society. John Harry, who you saw here tonight. Richard Hernowicki, who is Rights and Repro and photographer, who's celebrating his 60th year with the society and was our Dan Emmer awardee this year for our annual event. Mary Jo Knapp, who continues to deliver education no matter what obstacles in our way, including coronavirus. Morgan Sweet, who is development and events. Morgan has had every event she planned this year canceled and replanned, so thank you to her. And then we have Cody and Ken, who were also managing the front desk with us this year. And I thank them for their flexibility as well. And our docents at our historic sites and volunteers. It's not possible without these people. And then certainly, last but not least, our board of directors. So thank you to our board of directors for being flexible and willing to step up to the plate during this time and make things work for the society. So thank you to all those people I named. And if I forgot anyone, I apologize. So thank you. We'll see you next year for hopefully an in-person event. And in the meantime, stay up with our Facebook and website so you know what's happening. And we'll be excited when an in-person event can be scheduled again. Thank you and have a great night.